Right, my name's John Banks and I'm the owner of the Fish and Chip Shop, as you can see behind you in the background. And we're today doing a Fundraising and Awareness Day for multiple myeloma, which is a charity that's close to my heart because I've been suffering from multiple myeloma for 12 years. And I thought, what can I do? And I thought about a fundraising day, do everything half price. And then I thought about a theme for it, and one night in the middle of the night I thought about Elvis. And it's been done before, loads of times in the chip shop, because of the old song. There's a guy down the chip shop swears he's Elvis, so I thought, let's run with that theme. You know, probably a little bit about myeloma. It's a lot of the time when I tell people what it is, they mistake it for skin cancer, melanoma. And I always take the time to tell people what it is. It's not skin cancer. It's the second most common cause of blood cancer after leukemia, which is the most common. It's a bone marrow cancer, and it's not a curable cancer, and it is terminal. But what I've always believed is, in my own self, is that if you're positive, if you keep a positive mind and you're a fighter, it makes your body more receptive to the drugs, and I really believe that. So in actual fact, I've always had that attitude. So when I thought that I had 3 years to live, originally when I was diagnosed, I ended up with 12. I'm still here. You know, maybe that's to do partly with my positive thinking, helping the drugs. Again, I've felt much more positive this time, despite what they've told me. You know, and maybe this is why the drugs have been so good, maybe too good for me this time, because I'm making my body too receptive, you know? So, but I believe it works. I believe that's the way it works. I've had 2 periods of remission in that time. One for 7 years, where it didn't really affect my life at all, except for regular blood tests. And then another one for probably 3 years, more recently, again, just for regular blood tests. But recently I relapsed, and now I'm on a course of chemotherapy starting again to try and put me back in a remission state. Obviously, when you're on treatment, you know, infected in different ways, and the first course of chemotherapy I did 12 years ago, very primitive by today's standards, you know, an infusion thing over 4 days, and sickness and all sorts of side effects. The second one, which was about 4 or 5 years ago I took, actually one of the drugs that complemented the therapy, gave me the energy to work 12-hour shifts in my chip shop and go home and lay laminate floors at night time, and I was like Superman. This time, totally different. It's put me out of action work-wise, but it's given me a lot of mental energy. But the main thing is raising awareness of myeloma, so people stop saying melanoma, skin cancer. They actually know what it is. And I think if you can do that, you know, surely by definition, you're going to raise the awareness, you raise funding, and get more money and more drugs and possibly a cure. And that's the ultimate objective. But there's loads of people around the country doing the same thing as I am as well. And if you go on the Myeloma website, you can see they have a Facebook site called Fundraising Myeloma. Anybody can go and have a look on there. There's people doing all sorts of charity events every day, and they're doing the same thing to help raise funds for this charity. And they're the only charity that supports myeloma in the UK. And they do all sorts of support for patients and for carers, and give out information to the press and to the patients and about drugs and treatments. But then what other thing they do is, is they put funding into research as well. But I'm feeling well at the moment, and feeling positive, and I've always said, you know, I'm not going to be going quite quietly or without a fight, so that's where I'm at.